Whether you've heard the voice on a CD, Spotify, YouTube, or the likes of that, or were you lucky enough to catch him singing live many years ago, you have to admit, he had a voice on him that just made you want to keep quiet and listen. When we talk about Luke Kelly, one of the main men from the Dubliners, we think of the folk revival in Ireland when there was a renewed interest in folk music and culture. He himself was a folk legend, a political firebrand as well, and a cornerstone of the Dubliners. He left an indelible mark on music history as well. But how did this working class hero, in a tragically short life, forge such a monumental legacy? And also we're going to discuss an unpopular opinion that was shared online, which I know you'll get a kick out of. Was he any good of a singer? But anyway, without further ado, let's have a look at the extraordinary life of Luke Kelly. Luke Kelly was born in Sheriff Street, Dublin, on November 17, 1940, into a working-class household. He spent the majority of his childhood living in the St. Lawrence O'Toole flats after Dublin Corporation demolished Lattimore Cottages in 1942. And after this, the family moved to the Whitehall area around 1953 after a fire occurred. Music and politics were in his blood. His father, who was also named Luke Kelly, was a keen singer who could also perform African American spirituals by artists like Paul Robeson. But the family history also contained a painful event. His father was wounded as a child during the Bachelor's Walk massacre on July 26, 1914. He was shot in the lung when British troops off the King's Own Scottish borderers opened fire on an unarmed crowd in Dublin. Although the doctors didn't expect him to recover, he did survive. Luke himself had attended school, but left at the age of 13. After a few years spent doing odd jobs, his path took him away from Dublin. In 1958, in his late teens, Luke emigrated to England. He took on various manual jobs, including working steel fixing with his brother Paddy in Wolverhampton. And interestingly as well, this was a job he was allegedly fired from for asking for higher pay. He described this period as a travelling beatnik, moving across northern England and doing odd jobs like cleaning lavatories, cleaning windows, and cleaning railways as well. It was here that his musical and political life truly blossomed. In early 1960, he found his first folk club at the Bridge Hotel in Newcastle upon Tyne. He was massively influenced by American folk heroes like Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger. As well as that, he bought himself his first 5-string banjo, a 5-string long neck, which he played in the style of Seeger. Let's have a little listen to a quick clip of that and see if you can pick up any similarities in Luke's playing. In Birmingham, Luke Kelly befriended Sean Mulready, and this was a teacher who was exiled from Dublin. They both shared the same political beliefs. Under Mulready, his wife Molly, and Marxist classicist George Derwin Thompson, Kelly dedicated himself to studying literature and politics. He later stated that his interest in music developed in parallel with his deepening political convictions. Luke became deeply active in leftist politics, joining the Young Communist League and the Connolly Association. He would tour Irish pubs, perform his songs, and sell the Connolly Association's newspaper, The Irish Democrat. By 1962, he was offered the chance to attend university in Prague to further his education, but he turned it down to focus entirely on his folk music career. And this was a great choice in my opinion, thinking about all the absolutely amazing music that was created. But imagine if he had taken the other path, right? What do you think the Dubliners would have been like? You know, who would have filled his spot throughout the years? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But it was his return to Ireland that would truly kick things off. It was there in a smoke-filled pub that a legendary group would be born. In 1962, amidst the rising ballad boom in Ireland, Luke returned to Dublin. He quickly linked up with fellow musicians at the famous O'Donoghue's pub in Dublin's Merrion Row. Here he regularly sang with Ronnie Drew and Barney McKenna. Kieran Burke soon joined them afterwards, forming the core group that gained local popularity. They initially formed under the name the Ronnie Drew ballad group. The group secured a theatrical production called A Ballad Tour of Ireland. It was around this time that Luke Kelly suggested a name change, inspired by the James Joyce book of short stories he was reading at the time, The Dubliners. This early success led to their amazing debut album, The Dubliners, which was released in 1964. Luke served as the leading vocalist for this album, featuring his defining rendition of The Rocky Road to Dublin, which Barney noted that Luke sang to the rhythm it was played on the fiddle, and it was a unique achievement. Now, slip jigs are really fun to play, especially The Rocky Road to Dublin, and I'm pretty sure plenty of you can sing it. You know, you have to admit as well that it's not that easy. That 9/8 rhythm really does take a bit of practice to sing, but it is fun nonetheless. His journey saw him leave Ireland only to return and form a legendary group. But even with the Dubliners' rising fame, Luke's desire for change and strong beliefs would soon lead him to leave the group for a wee while, get married, and become even more involved in the politics. In 1964, Luke left the group for nearly 2 years. He was temporarily replaced by Bobby Lynch. It was around this time that he had returned to London, and he had married Deirdre O'Connell the next year, who was the founder of the Focus Theatre. But the music just kept calling him back. While in London, he immersed himself in the folk scene again, joining Ewan MacColl's The Critics, and this group was dedicated to exploring folk traditions. One key point here was that Luke also retained and expanded his political focus during this time. He became increasingly active in the campaign for nuclear disarmament, the CND. He also developed a personal political friendship with Michael O'Riordan, who was the General Secretary of the Irish Workers' Party, and even held a rally endorsing O'Riordan for election in 1965. But just a year after heading to London, he was back in Ireland in 1965. He rejoined the Dubliners again when Bobby Lynch left. And also, as well as that, John Sheehan, who had joined the band at the same time that Bobby did in 1964, he remained with the group, setting the core group as we remember it today: Ronnie, Luke, Barney, Kieran and John. Luke's return marked the beginning of the Dubliners' most celebrated era, a period defined by artistic triumphs and a dedication to using his voice for change, both on and off the stage. Just real quick before we continue, if you're enjoying the video so far, or even if this is your second time back to the channel and you are interested in all things Irish music, could you do me a wee quick favour there and just double check if you're subscribed? It'll just make sure that if there's any new videos released, that you'll be notified of them in your homepage or the subscriptions tab. But that's it, I won't keep you any longer. Please do enjoy the rest of the video. With Luke back with the lads, the Dubliners were unstoppable. They recorded a live album at the Gate Theatre and soon achieved major success, securing top 20 hits with 7 Drunken Nights and the Black Velvet Band. They even appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1968, where interestingly they weren't allowed to perform 7 Drunken Nights due to its immoral lyrics. Rather than risk losing the significant United States exposure that the show offered, the Dubliners agreed to Sullivan's demand and performed a different song, the Muirshin Durkin. Unlike other artists like The Doors or Bob Dylan, who either refused to comply with the censorship or defied the show's requests during the live broadcast, they were subsequently banned. The Dubliners' compliance meant that their performance went ahead as scheduled, and they weren't banned from the show itself. What made Luke stand out from the rest was that he was celebrated for his powerful interpretations of ballads and social commentary songs. Like, his version of The Rocky Road to Dublin was highly regarded, but his interpretations of songs like Ewan MacColl's Dirty Old Town and Phil Coulter's The Town I Love So Well became defining moments in Irish folk music. And perhaps his most renowned rendition was On Raglan Road. I'm only messing with you. I've learned how to pronounce renowned. Okay, renowned. It is renowned, isn't it?
Renowned.
I went my whole life pronouncing it renowned. Whatever. And nobody's corrected me until the last video, so thanks very much. If anything good comes from these videos, it's that my vocabularies have definitely improved, to be honest. But yeah, perhaps his most renowned rendition was On Raglan Road. The song's origin is fascinating, right? The poet and author Patrick Kavanagh heard him singing in a Dublin pub, and he approached him to suggest that he set the poem which is sung to the tune of The Dawning of the Day to music. And let's just have a listen to that.
I gave her poems to say.
Luke's commitment to social justice shone through in his musical choices. Like, he recorded songs dealing with things like social issues and trade unionism, seen in Joe Hill and Alabama 1958, the arms race and the Cold War, such as the Button Pusher, and Irish republicanism as well, including God Save Ireland. He even extended his support to the Irish traveller community by performing at benefit concerts and campaigned against South African apartheid. In addition to his music, he also ventured into acting, appearing as Sergeant Kite in the Mullingar Recruits, and later playing King Herod in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar, in several runs at the Gaiety Theatre. Yet, the next few years would prove the most challenging for himself and the Dubliners, with a life being tragically cut short. Luke and his wife, Deirdre O'Connell, separated in the early 1970s. He spent the last 8 years of his life with his German partner, Madeleine. His health deteriorated due to demanding schedule and heavy alcohol consumption, leading to severe migraines and memory loss. The tragic culmination of this was his collapse on stage at the Cork Opera House on June 30th, 1980. And this was also followed by a diagnosis of a brain tumour. Though he underwent an operation and bravely continued touring with the Dubliners, his health just continued to worsen. He struggled to remember lyrics and had to take longer breaks as well. In the autumn of 1983, while on a European tour, he had to leave the stage multiple times. And after a short hospital stay in Heidelberg, he was flown back to Dublin. Luke Kelly died on January 30th, 1984, at the young age of 43. His funeral in Whitehall drew thousands of mourners. His simple gravestone in Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin bears the inscription, Luke Kelly, Dubliner. His legacy remains immense. In 2005, Dublin City Council voted unanimously to erect a bronze statue in his honour. Although funding was delayed, 2 statues were ultimately unveiled in Dublin in January 2019 to mark the 35th anniversary of his passing. A life-size bronze on South King Street and a marble portrait head on Sheriff Street. A bridge in Dublin's north inner city had also been renamed the Luke Kelly Bridge. For me, myself, right, Luke Kelly was more than just a musician. He was so passionate about what he did. He was an unforgettable voice of the working class, and he carried the songs of Ireland's history and struggle onto the world stage. His voice continues to resonate, reminding us that truly great folk music is both deeply personal and fiercely political as well. What he means for Irish music, in my opinion, is that he embodies its very soul, a voice that speaks to our past and inspires the future. And you can't deny that he had one hell of a head of hair, the kind of hair that any 30-year-old balding man could wish for. How much are flights to Turkey there? But one thing that was on my mind while doing this video, right? Remembering a comment from one of my viewers on one of the other Dubliners videos. And they told me that every time they're travelling in the car with their kid, they always have to listen to Luke Kelly playing on the radio. And that's the kind of thing I really love to see and hear. The kid will definitely grow up to have one hell of a taste of music, that's for sure. Now, in researching this video, right, I read a funny bit on Reddit that was posted a few years back, and I think the fella deleted their profile as well. So the question was basically, was he any good of a singer? And the argument that he had was basically, if any of the singers from Britain's Got Talent or any of those modern talent shows, right, American Idol, If any of them had a go of Luke Kelly's songs, they could knock it out of the park far better than he could. They made the statement as well, saying that if Luke was on Britain's Got Talent, for example, he wouldn't get very far in the competition. But what's your thoughts on it anyway, right? Please comment your thoughts down below, right? And I'm going to do something different this time going forward. The best or the funniest or the most upvoted comment, basically the one that stands out, will be picked for comment of the week. And I'll feature the comment on next week's video. If you liked this video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss more videos, and also comment your thoughts as well. Have I pronounced any words wrong? Also, what video would you like me to do next? I do read all the comments as well, so please do comment below. And I would like to give a shout out to our channel members. Thanks so much for your continued support. And also a very warm welcome to our new members, Kathleen Walsh, David Dwyer and CS Coolidge. I'm so glad to have you along for the journey. If you'd like to join them, click the join button down below there, or check out the links in the description for more info. Also feel free to check out the shop for some Irish music inspired stuff. There's still that 10% discount on the website till the end of the year as well. Also with Christmas coming up next month, things are sure to get busy, so have a look while stocks last. And also as well as that, I'm planning for either the next video or the video after that, before December anyway. I'm going to have a special surprise for you in there as well. And yeah, I'm really sorry as well that this video took a little bit too long to get out. I was having problems rendering videos, my laptop would crash all the time. So I decided to go back and re-record this video and make some improvements, and I'm happy I did. I definitely need to save up a little bit of money and buy a new PC because this thing is just not fit for it. Hopefully there's no more delays in videos anyway for the next few months. Fingers crossed. But anyway, look, I'll leave it at that. Thanks a million for watching. Slán go fóill. Cheers.